It's a great day to talk hockey with Grant McCagg on HabsCast.
Pleasant Sunday afternoon to everyone. It's Bryce Pickford got signed this week by the Montreal Canadiens, and what's he do? He turns around, has a 4-point night, celebrate after Christmas, goal and 3 assists. He's on a 7-game goal-scoring streak, which I don't know if that's a CHL record for a defenseman, but if it's not, it's damn close. He's on a 7-game multi-point scoring streak. In his last 9 games, he has 24 points. Now, that's not bad for a defenseman, is it? Just have a quick look here at the he is leading the WHL in goals, 26. Next closest, Tommy Lafreniere. Believe he was a fellow third-round pick, but he's a forward. 26 goals, 22 assists. Plus 38. Him and Jonas Wu are leading the league in plus minus. Quite a defense pairing. They're also 4 or 5 in points, which is pretty cool. Can't recall a defense tandem ever being top 5 in points in a junior league or an NHL league, but these guys are pretty dynamic. Pickford is on pace for 54 goals this year. Now, that would set a record, a WHL record or CHL record, actually, for most goals by a defenseman, by a full-time defenseman in Canadian junior hockey history. So obviously, the kid has future power play potential. The question will be, is the rest of his game good enough to become an NHL regular so that he can take advantage of that shot, which I think is absolutely elite. He's got a one of the best shots I've ever seen by a hockey player in general. Just great release, quick release, snapshot, wrist shot, slap shot are all hard, and just maybe the most accurate of any player that I've ever scouted. So when you've got an elite quality to your game, it usually translates to an NHL job. The question will be, is the rest of his game good enough to be a top 4 defenseman and to play 15, 18 minutes plus a game? Let's have a look at it. I looked at his last game, and there wasn't a lot. They beat Lethbridge 5-1. I think they've won 11 straight games or something like that. Medicine Hat. They're just unstoppable right now. And a big reason for that is Pickford with 24 points in 9 games. But they're really on a heater, as is Pickford. But I mean, it was 5-1. It was 5-0. They scored 1 late. Didn't really get to see him in his own zone a hell of a lot because Medicine Hat tended to have the puck most of the time. So what I also did here, we'll have a look at the highlights from the game last night. But what I also did was I took all of the notable goals against this season. So just to have a look at what maybe the things that his weaknesses and what he probably, definitely still has to work on before he starts vying for an NHL spot. Like he's not stepping in a lineup this year or anything like that. It's exciting what he's doing, but there's work to be done, and I'll explain as we watch the video. Here he is pinching in. He's not afraid to pinch. Sometimes it gets him in trouble, but that's his offensive bent, right? As I kind of noticed in the highlights here, his skating is is fine, but I wouldn't call him an elite skater for a 6'6", 6'1" kid. It's decent, but that's something that we'll have to keep working on. I love that play. We'll just back it up here a bit. Check this out here. Yeah, like his speed, it's okay, but that's something that, like any young player, there's work to be done. This look at that in the offensive zone, and then I like this move here. He's very very intelligent in the offensive zone. Makes really good plays. Lateral agility is good. Walking the line. There was a that could have been a breakaway. A little careless. This one's kind of funny. That's the Mike Matheson special there. Breaks his stick. Just trying to pass the puck behind the net. And then, but what I like here is he goes to the bench. He doesn't mess around with the no stick, touring around with no stick for half a minute or a minute. Here he is defending. That was half decent. Like he's, I wouldn't call him a great skater, but he's decently mobile. That may be what, and here he joins the rush. He's very good at anticipating that. Didn't put it in on that play, but he knows when to jump up into the play. He's definitely aggressive in that regard, and I don't mind that. I mean, create offense. Hudson does the same thing, right? Here he gets a shot through. Teammate gets a rebound, picks up a point. That was his first point. Here, nice move in the pass. Beautiful. He sees the ice well. Really like him from the blue line in. That's going to be his calling card to the NHL. It's fair to say. Is just how good he is offensively. That was a decent play. Get it up, and the guy snapped her home. So that was point number 2. And here's number 3. Bit lucky on this one. Usually he puts a top corner that actually went off the medicine hat, and then they do their little Pickford dance there. I don't know what that's all about, but it's kind of cool. That ended up going off the Lethbridge defenseman, so it was a bit lucky, but kept his goal streak alive, so he's not going to argue about that. Here he is, stealing the puck and keeping it in. Again, you'll see most of the highlights here are from in the offensive zone. Got the puck, got it over, 4th point. 4th point of the night for him. There he follows the guy right out to the blue line. He does that on occasion, and again, that's not a bad. Just as long as you stay on a man and somebody covers for you in front of the net. He's certainly not shy when it comes to pinching. And there he is with his one-timer. The goalie actually made a couple of really good saves on him where he could have had another hat trick. There he lost I don't know what he was doing there. He reversed the puck right to the other guy, but it didn't end up biting him. Here he pokes steps up and pinches, pokes the puck ahead. Could have got burnt on it, but didn't. And here he's offense, and then he's caught right there. He should have been backing up. He didn't. And boom. So that was a goal against, where he's, again, being a little too offensive-minded. I guess when you're ahead 5-0, it's not the end of the world. There he got the puck. Could have been a... okay, we'll stop it here. But you know, I looked for defensive miscues and defensive play, and I would have had more, but as like I say, they had the puck for most of the time there. Yeah, as far as the Glenn saying about not a fan of the celebration stuff, so yeah, um, so you thought that um, Carey Price and PK Subban were immature when they were doing it? They're a lot older than he was. You're saying, hey, he's a kid and he'll mature. Yeah, I guess you said the same thing about PK and Carey when they used to have their little celebration. I think it's more a team thing. Like they do this and then I don't know. It's their little thing. Hey, they're having fun. The NFL does it all the time. There's 30-year-olds, 35-year-olds in a NFL celebrating. Is that because they're immature? Or I don't put too much stock in it, Glenn. That doesn't bother me. Um, let's see here. The no fun league. All right. So that was highlights from the last game. What we're going to do here now is look at goals against that he's been on the ice for this year. Not all of them, but ones where that he was at least partly involved. And this one here, he was behind the play, got caught up ice. That's often what. And here, I don't know that flat-footed, and that looked like Logan Mailloux on the old flat-footed no pivot. Here loses the puck. They get it. He doesn't really do much after he lost it either. Here he is, lost the puck, came in, and again, kind of, you lose the puck, at least cover somebody, right? And here, like, what's he doing? He should have jumped back there, being too aggressive offensively there. In a 3-3 game, wasn't a time. But that's maturity. And here he lost the puck in his skates and they scored. Here he was caught, let the guy jump in behind him. That looks like a Montreal Canadian defenseman a lot of times this year, but there again, losing the puck in his skates. That happens. Here, caught flat-footed, let the guy scoot right in, scored. This kind of didn't. That wasn't horrible. 2-on-1, you gotta cut off the pass, but there he left the guy wide open. Just back that up and have a quick look again. This one here, he didn't play that terribly, so I don't get to. But this one, what's that, right? Hey, every defenseman has their lapses, right? Here's a couple more that were, for some reason, came to the front. It wasn't great defense. And here, again, let the guy get in behind him. So there's work to do. He's got to work on his pivots, his mobility still. But that's the case for every friggin' 20-year-old defenseman playing the NHL. You got to, there's work to be done, unless you're Matthew Schaefer. That's, I guess, why he didn't. It's the they thought the defensive play wasn't, as good as Ethan McKenzie or whatever. hey, I'm not watching these guys all the time. I don't know, how well all of the guys that are on the World Junior team are playing, but I do certainly think that it's not a bad thing to have more than one offensive option on your blue line when you're playing the World Juniors. I mean, hey, what was the problem last night against Latvia? They didn't goal scoring, right? They I mean, they only scored one goal in regulation time, so um, they could have used him. May have even popped a goal or two during the game. It seems to do it every game right now. So, but that just gives you a little bit of a glimpse at what he needs to still work on. A little too aggressive at times, thinking offense and then getting caught. Right, he's not fast enough to uh, catch guys on breakaways. Like his speed's decent, but it's not so good that he can. He's not Bobby Orr, where Bobby'd when Bobby'd do that, he just solution was to just skate back and freaking catch the guy, right? Pivots are okay, but need to keep working. He's a kind of a stocky kid, so he'll have to probably work on the lean muscle part of things this off season. He's going to need at least a year in the AHL, might be two. Typically, defensemen, right, take a while. There'll be work to do in the AHL. It might be a couple of years, might be 3 years, but um, the Canadiens certainly aren't, starving for offense on the blue line right now. So, you know, he's not better than he's not better than Alex Carrier right now. Yeah, he could bring more offense, but defending in their own zone or whatever, right now there's no comparison. Carrier, you know, is ahead of him and will be for a couple of years probably. So there'll be no rush to bring him up. Like most young defensemen, they typically before you're 22, unless you're a Matthew Schaefer or Kale McCarr or whatever, you aren't playing, right? Um, he'll hopefully. Well, I mean, Medicine Hat could win the WHL, but if they get beat, typically offensive teams don't go that far in the playoffs. They're good in the regular season, and then once the playoffs things tighten up, they tend to lose. But we'll see. They're in second place in the Eastern Conference right now in the WHL, and um, we'll see how far they go. But I'd like to see him in Laval at the end of the year, and hopefully, his defensive game is good enough that he'll get some ice time at that level. I would think so. Um, you know, but sometime in this spring in Laval, and then uh, next year Laval, couple of good off seasons, comes back to camp in 2 years and push for a spot. But if he's 2 years in Laval, even three, that's fine. It takes there's no rush. Like I know looking at his stats, and when you look at his highlights and go, well, he's going to be better than Dobson, but you know, I mean, just from you know, we tend to focus on a guy like Dobson's mistakes, and you look at this, you look at the goals against for him here. This is only WHL, right? It'd be a lot worse in the NHL. He'd be uh, people would be railing on Pickford if he was in the NHL right now. Trust me, more so than Dobson. He's nowhere near being ready to jump ahead of Dobson. Like if and when he does, it's going to be 4 years from now, probably. He'll need work. He'll need work on his all-round game, his defending, his Dobson's a 6'4" guy with range, better skater, 3 inches well, with the reach, he's probably got 7 inches on Pickford and all that stuff. So, as exciting as it is that he's getting all these points and stuff, well, like Brian Berard, you got to kind of compare him a bit to Berard. He's not as skilled as Berard was, a little smaller, not as good a skater as Brian Berard, but Berard had issues, at the NHL level, little too offensive minded at times. And I think, Pickford's kind of in that mold, but not obviously not at that level, but a Brian Berard type, pre-eye injury, Brian Berard type of defenseman, which, they'll be good and bad, obviously, but a lot more good than bad. I mean, he'll bring offense. So if he can improve his game to the point where he, he can play on a third pairing at the NHL level, he's going to help your power play because the guy, again, when you've got a shot like he does, I could see him being a 15-goal NHL defenseman someday. And typically, there aren't a lot of those, right? Like how many NHL defensemen each year score 50 goals or 15 goals? Werenski is going to obviously do it this year, no problem. But let's just have a look. For instance, last year, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Parayko had 10 at 16 too. 10 defensemen in the league that scored 15 goals last year. Year before, which actually was quite a few. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 the year before. So usually around 10 defensemen in the entire league score, around 10 plus or 15 plus goals. I think Pickford has that potential, right? Be a 15 goal a year NHL defenseman, maybe 20 if he can improve his game to the point where he plays 18 plus minutes a night. That shot is just it's going to be lethal. A little bit like Jacob Chikrin too, and maybe younger Jacob Chikrin, but not quite as tall or as good a skater. But one who's Evan Bouchard's another one, a little bit like Evan Bouchard, but maybe not prone to as many dumb mistakes as Bouchard. But a player that likely at the NHL level is going to be more noted for being, an offensive defenseman than a defensive stalwart. But he's not bad defensively. Mind you, he's 19 playing in the WHL and wearing the C, 4th year. He's supposed to be pretty solid defensively at this point, but he is. He's, those were his goals against for the entire year. So it looks bad when you put it in a highlight tape, just as it looks good when you put all the offensive highlights in a highlight tape too, right? Anyway, he be excited about this kid. I think he's going to play in the NHL. I think he can contribute 15 goals once he does make the NHL and he's ready and playing on a power play. But it's a ways away for him, I would think. But that's a Habs prospect of the week. How can you not? 24 points in his last 9. It's crazy. But this is a week. I mean, I could easily been Jarosky, who I highlighted yesterday. You could call him co-prospect of the week, but also, this guy right here. Let's have a look. Stole the puck. I love this, the move and then the pass. That doesn't get enough love, the play he made there all the way through. Stealing the puck, then bringing it in. Look at how that's NHL. That's an NHL move all day. The way he leans his shoulder in, dips the shoulder, protects the puck, and then makes the great play to McKenna. Talking about Michael Hage, by the way. Here's his goal. This is against the Czechs, where he should have been player of the game. Great to, moved into scoring area, got a shooting lane. Look at that shot. Top cheese. It did, I think, deflect off defenseman, but hey, what the hell? I love the forecheck there too, and then the pass back to McKenzie. I've really liked his anticipation. His, he's been lights out as far as I'm concerned at the World Juniors. And then last night, clutch. How often have we seen that in Michigan? Eh? You get I love the Selly. I like, good for him, for a guy that's been through the crap that he's been. But boom, goalie didn't stand a chance. Great one-timer. You see it here. What goalie stopping that, right? Cut boom. And here's Koivu's goal. He went to the scoring area. He's got a really good shot. Might be his biggest weapon. Canadiens drafted some players with good shots. Just highlighted 3 of them: Koivu, Hage, and obviously Pickford. So I'd say it's a trio for prospect of the week. Take your pick between Hage, Zurowski, and Pickford, the three most heralded prospects right now. If you don't call Fowler a prospect anymore. By the way, Fowler's getting the start today in Tampa. And here's Reinbacher last night. We'll get a look at his 2 apples here. Fed Trudeau. And this one, he gets the shot through, and Kandata tips it on the way through. So nice to see the backer contributing some offense. Laval won 4-3. So nice. I haven't had a chance to look at all his shifts, but we get some time, we will do so. And I'll let you folks know where I think Reinbacher is in his development. So yeah, that's those are the four main Habs prospects, and they all had really good weeks. So, right, Reinbacher being number 1 in my opinion, but Zurowski and Hage, they continue to impress, and Pickford obviously. So those 4, just keep doing it, and they had especially good weeks. And for Habs fans, hey, tied for first in win percentage. They win today, they won't be tied for first anymore. They'll be in first in win percentage in the Atlantic Division. Let me know. Marty's on the record yesterday as saying that Monty's going to get in. When do you think Monty will get a look? Do you think if the other 2 guys keep winning here, and I mean they're going on a 5-game road trip, and it's unlikely, as soon as one of these guys loses, does Monty get the net the next night? Do you think it'll be on the road trip? Most people probably aren't going to say, oh, I want Monty in right away. It'll be, I don't want him in at all, but leave me your thoughts. Phil Deneau had his holiday break. He probably, had a really good turkey pizza Christmas dinner or 2, He's got his energy built back up. I expect to see him being a little more noticeable today. Evans out 4 to 6 weeks. That's not good. Any update on Texier? Is he? I haven't seen an update, but is he playing today? Beck? I haven't. I've been busy getting this podcast together. Do we know who's in the lineup and not? If you know, leave something in the live chat. You folks are great for keeping things updated that I don't get to. Okay, let's have a look at the live chat. Go through a Mark. Hey, Mark. Good afternoon. Could you see him ever playing a forward position? No, he's a defenseman. JT, does he get beat often on D? If not, it may just be situational effort. Well, you just saw. You just saw. Okay, it's something he'll need to work on. I'm sure they identified these things if they signed him already. Every defenseman's on for goals against. That's, again, this is the entire season, right? And it's really not that bad, obviously. Obviously, he's putting up points. Good for him. I'm wondering, with the lack of defensive approach to his game, plus 38, 48 points, is it more of a camouflage? Yeah. It's just no. It's just a defensive prospect. Czech is the best built team at the juniors. They remind me of how Canada used to build their teams. Big, skilled, and nasty. Definitely a project to watch. Absolutely. Fort George. No ptarmigan on the table today. Exactly, Grant. Let's get him some reps in Laval. Drum dude, you made it early today. Hey, Grant, Pickford, round 3, number 1. Hey, this guy is a bonus. Yeah, for sure. Don't, I'm just pointing out what he needs to work on. That's, he's leading second in junior hockey and goal scoring on defensemen. So obviously we know the good parts, but I think people want to see, let's not sugarcoat things here, right? There's a reason why he's not on the there's reasons why he wasn't on Canada's World Junior team. Like, Mark Hunter is part of that group. He's not an idiot, right? Obviously they had some concerns about his play without the puck. And you're playing against the big team like Czechia there. Would he have had some struggles? He may have. So as much as I disagree with them not at least bringing him to camp and having a look at him, I think that was ridiculous. I sort of get why they thought, okay, we got Perek. Perek is dynamic offensively. Aitchison has like 18 goals or whatever, 12 power play goals in junior. He's another guy that can contribute offensively, they thought. So we won't take this guy. But anyway, I personally think that his defense is fine and that he would have been fine defensively at the World Juniors. Maybe not, not one of the best or anything like that. But hey, these guys have a job to do. They did it. I'm critical of it, but it is what it is, and I'm over it. We as fans tend to go overboard when it comes to the hype of young prospects. We have to give them time to develop. Quite often they don't meet the hype. Well, yeah, that's part of it too, why I want to show, what he needs to work on, because otherwise, if people just keep seeing, his goals and think, well, fuck, we should call him up now. He should be in the lineup. He should be ahead of Carrier. Well, just slow it down a bit. No, there's work to do, right? I mean, Logan Mailloux, if you just did highlights of him in his last year of junior, think, frig, he's ready for the NHL, basically. And I even got, pretty excited because you saw a great shot. You saw his forward skating, aggressiveness, but as time has shown, he needed multiple years. Reinbacher, hey, isn't in the NHL yet, and he was a top 5 pick. So, it's all about his edges. Well, he's got to keep working. Got to keep working on it. Where grandma keeps her cookies. I guess that was after the Hage. The Hage goal. Hage is meeting the moment. Yeah. Yeah. He's coming of Hage. That's for sure. Easy. Fowler. Yeah. Not going anywhere. I noticed, Grant, that when watching juniors, we always must account for each player doing his job and not everybody's because he's a superstar. Because at NHL level, each does his job. Yeah. No. He'll Pickford won't be scoring 30. He'll never have a 54 goals season in the NHL. Like there'll be bumps and bruises, bumps along the way. Hey, he'll have some struggles in the AHL when he first goes up, I'm sure, trying to handle size and strength of men, right? Coming from junior, but I like him a lot. I think he'll play in the NHL, and I think he'll be, when he does find a regular role, he'll score 10 to 20 goals most seasons, I think, and that's a weapon. That's something that's nice to have on the blue line. Team Canada does the same mistake year after year and forget about secondary scoring. Well, yeah, we've seen it more than a few times where you're thinking, oh, geez, they could have used another weapon back there. And you have to be able to score goals as well as prevent them in the World Juniors, that's for sure. Hage is a legitimate prospect all day, and twice on Sunday. I cannot see I'll be disillusioned with any trade involving this future center of ours. Yeah, I don't know if he's a center. 13% in the face-off circle tells me that he might end up on the wing, but that's fine too. It's all about getting the puck through traffic. It doesn't have to be a bomb. Like people say, oh, well, you just have to improve his face-offs. Well, that may happen, that may not, right? A poor skater just has to improve his skating. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. Poor shooter has to improve his shot. Most of the time they don't. If you're a below average shooter in junior, you're never going to be an above average shooter in the NHL. You can improve it and maybe become an average shooter, maybe. But while you're improving your shot, guess what every other junior player is doing before they make the NHL? They're improving their shot, right? Like Lane Hutson, did anybody practice more on his shot in the offseason than Lane Hutson? No, but he still has a below average shot at this point. Maybe someday he'll get it up to average, but he'll never have an above average shot, no matter how hard he works at it. Face off, if you're, this isn't an anomaly. He's 33% in college this year, and they've had to actually put him on the wing in Michigan because of it. So he's below average face-off guy in college. So will he ever get to average at the NHL level? Maybe, maybe not. If he, you know, there are no top 2 centers in the NHL well below 40% in face-off percentage. There just aren't. So time will tell. He's showing that his all-round games come to the point where I'm more confident that he could play center if the face-offs come along. But if they don't, then he'll end up on the wing, which is fine. It's all about getting the puck through traffic. It doesn't have to be a bomb. No. Nice to get it. Nice to be accurate, too. Doesn't look like a newborn deer on skates anymore. Who's that? You're not talking about Reinbacher, are you? He's had a huge upper body the entire time that he's been in the organization. A little deceptive there when it comes to Reinbacher and his lower body. He's got tree trunks for legs, actually. Saw him at the development camp, his first one, and legs are huge. Thorpe, Papanicus, Jack Eye Killer, fourth line. Yeah, it could be. I keep saying that, so I can't disagree. I think Monty gets traded within the next few days. Maybe. Monty gets a start, it'll be on the road for sure. Well, you might get one this road trip. If either of the guys struggles, that'll be okay. Monty, we're throwing you in there. Well, if they both struggle, they'll definitely do it, but Protz and Arbor on defense, we won't be shy. Yeah, Protz ever makes it. He's he's a bit of a long shot at this point, but maybe. Monty will get in another game with another team via trade. Maybe. I think Monty plays versus Carolina. Tekshay was at practice. He should play. Beck was a spare. Too bad. Tekshay in, apparently. He practiced full gear. All right. I don't like Beck. I don't like any of these young guys sitting out in the stands. Send him back to freaking Laval and bring up a spare. You can get anybody can sit in the friggin' stands. Monty against St. Louis. Yeah, maybe. Pickford, Carbonneau, Aspinall, Vanacker should have been on. Obviously, the Habs have high hopes for Pickford. Yeah, well, guess what? 3rd round picks get signed. It's not obvious that they have high hopes. You name the last 3rd round pick, top 3 round pick, Sheldon, that they took that didn't sign. Yeah, I don't think it's obvious, but it's obvious to us that, we have high hopes for Pickford. I don't know that it's obvious that the Canadiens feel that way, but they probably should. Rabbit and dumplings for supper. What, you think that's what Deneau had? I think he had turkey pizza for Christmas dinner. The Habs are looking good for years to come. Lots of exciting prospects. Absolutely. Yeah, well, we'll see. PLE. I wouldn't have had Carbonneau and Aspinall on the team, but maybe that's me. Every young defender has things to work on, nothing to worry about here. Yeah. Hi, everybody. Pickford took a huge step in a year. No rush with him. He's a good prospect. For sure. Boris Kachuk to the Wild for Milne. There was a trade, was there? There's a 5-bell ding-a-ling. Kachuk, I don't even know where he is now. Was he with Ottawa? Tampa? He was back with Tampa, was he? So, minor league trade. Milne was a decent WHLer a couple of years ago. Not every center is capable to be great on the dot. I'm not talking about being great, talking about being good enough. Like even, Doc. Doc, a lot more center traits than, than Hage. And because he's 33% for his career, guess what he's playing most of the time? On the wing. Players' strength will remain their strength and their weakness will remain their weakness, pretty much. You're correct on Hage's face-off struggle. Wasn't thinking about that. However, either way, center or wing, he will be an impact with us in the future. Fair enough, Glenn. Well said. When everybody will be healthy, Kent Hughes will have to move some money. Which player do you think will be moved? Well, they'll try to move Laine. If the two young guys keep playing well in nets, they'll try to move Monty. Other than that, I don't know. Those are the two main guys, I would think. Condata or Bazil will be good spare. Beck should play. Yeah, I think so too. Anybody can sit in the stands. Yeah. Go Habs, go. Excited to watch the game. Yep. Should be a dandy. I don't think we've ever had so many elite prospects at literally every position at the same time. Yeah. It's hard to pick a prospect of the week every week. It's freaking crazy how good. So what have folks thought of McKenna so far? I mean, we're getting glimpses, right? He's not, it's fair to say that he doesn't look like a franchise player like, he had been touted as a couple of years back when he was putting up those crazy point totals for his age. Like, he's not a McDavid skater, dynamic, top speed puck handler, not great defensively, not very big. He's not going to be a Nate McKinnon or a Connor McDavid, but he does have a lot of he does have elite playmaking ability, and I think he'll be a point producer in the regular season. Will he help a team? Will he be the key player on an NHL Cup contender? There'll be things that need to come in his game. What do I think? There's so much parity in the NHL. Oh yeah, what makes you laugh about the NHL there? Fort George. What do you find funny? McKenna is missing the intensity for me. Yeah, Sheldon. I would agree. I would agree with that. I don't think it benefits McKenna to play 30 games a year in NCAA instead of 70 games in full playoffs. Yeah, well, but then you see this, he definitely has to put muscle on. Well, guess where he's going to probably put more muscle on over the next year? with the fantastic gym facilities, training, you know, trainers, training facilities, the lack of games, you spend more time training than you do playing. Odds are that over the next year, he's going to put on more good muscle than he would if he'd played 100 games a junior this year. There's no time for training then. So, no, I think it was the right move for him to make a step up in level. Like, holy frig, Medicine Hat's won 11 games. Like, imagine if he'd have been there. Like, they'd be winning games 11-3. And how much really is he developing at that point, right? He was putting up gaudy numbers in the WHL last year. So make a step up in level, and like, he's playing in a division that's just frig. You're playing against men. You're playing against high draft picks, lots of them. You're playing against the best juniors that have made them move over in the last year to college too. So, as much as I wish he would stayed in junior for the sake of junior hockey, for his own individual development, I understood why he made the move. And a kid like him that needs to get stronger, needs to put on muscle, that's more likely to happen in a college environment than, well, you got to look at it this year too, right? If he'd have played in Medicine Hat, okay. So he plays in Medicine Hat. He goes to the World Juniors. He plays there. They play, if they win in exhibition games, they play 10 games. While in Medicine Hat, during that break, might play 4 or 5. They go all the way to the Memorial Cup. You figure 25 games there. So 35 minus 5 that he would have played in the WHL, 30 extra games, basically 100 games. And then the combine, you can't work out and get ready then. Then the draft, you're not doing a regular training campaign. Then development camp in NHL. Well, you're not working out and going to the gym daily there. Then World Junior tryout camp, you're not going to the gym developing there. Then the World Junior summer camp, summer thingamading. Well, you're not going to, if he plays, you're not working out, getting stronger there. So between August and August, if he'd have stayed in Medicine Hat, would he have put on 5 good pounds of muscle, working out and training while playing 100, or, well, counting camps and everything else, playing 110 games and scrimmages? No. So this was the best option for a skinny kid that needs to put on muscle. Go to college. I hate to admit it, but in his case, it was the right move, I think. I don't believe he'll be celebrating here, Bedard. However, when you can compare a player of his talent to these guys, I guess it's a compliment to him. Yeah. He looks like I see a kind of a Mitch Marner type, but without the defensive play of Marner at this point anyways. Personally, don't think he'll be anywhere near as good in the NHL as most do. Best of luck to him, though. Well, I think that the expectations are getting tempered a bit now. I don't think people are proclaiming quite as vociferously that he'll be a he'll be a superstar in the NHL. But still a very good player, prospect. I would love they would trade for a Ginla. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But McKenna would benefit another year at NCAA after his draft. Yeah, maybe. Hey, wouldn't be the first to do it. Yeah, I think that's a possibility because he still needs to, you can see he's got to work on his all around game, his defensive game, his stamina, his strength are all things that, you know, I think one more year of in the NCAA may not hurt him. Oh, and Power went back for another year after he was drafted, right? So it's not like first overall picks don't. And he may not be first overall pick. Uh, it's a possibility he goes 2 or 3 as well. It's certainly not etched in stone yet. Stenberg's looked better than him so far at the World Juniors. I don't know if that means he'll go ahead of him, but there's at least a conversation now where for a lot of people in the summer and last year it was just McKenna consensus number 1. There's a lot of young Americans 16, 17 who choose to come to the WHL, OHL, and the Q. Yeah, but then they go back to college after too, right? What's happening here is that the main talent in junior hockey is now going to be a little younger than it was before, right? Kids, there's going to be really good 16, 17-year-olds in junior hockey, and some of them will leave at 18, 19 to go to college, NHL, whatever. But I think there's going to be more and more kids that play from the U.S. coming up. We've already seen it. They come up to play till they're ready to go to college. Some of them won't go the college route. They'll stay in the junior hockey, but some of them will too because now they can, right? Do I watch Canadian university hockey? Well, I just don't have enough time in the day to be, no, I don't. Not enough hours in the day to be, there's no Habs prospects or draft prospects in Canadian university hockey. So, pretty good comparison regarding Marner. Yeah. Yes, Sheldon, that's junior hockey will likely be like U18 AAA to a certain degree. Was there an update? Just heard he was doing well in the hospital. I never heard word back personally. I assume he's okay. Hoping he's okay. That's for sure. So the game, the puck drop at 5:00 tonight. So around 7:40, I guess I'll do a post game show tonight. Hope you can show up for that, and hope you all had a really, really fine Christmas holiday. Everybody had a good time, but when Gula gets back to the Habs, we'll tighten up the D. Yeah, missing Gooley. Missing Gooley for sure. The fact that players can go to college instead of junior, might they be able to choose their team if they don't sign? But in juniors, they remain property of draft team. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure about all those. ramifications right now? That's a good question. And it, what if they're in junior when they get drafted, but then go to college? You know what? I don't know that. I don't know that end of things now. Maybe going to college, if they're drafted out of junior, changes things and they don't necessarily have to sign. I don't know. That's a good question. I hadn't even thought of that angle, but maybe somebody knows the answer to that that's watching here. I'll pop in along with the game tonight. Thanks for doing this, Grant. Do enjoy these. Thanks for coming on, Glenn. Hadn't seen you in the last couple. Hope you had a good holiday, and we'll see you tonight. We'll see you tonight, Glenn. All right. So we didn't get so Blay, I guess, was that Becker gave the kind of, I found that kind of Beck a little uncomfortable for Beck. He's in street clothes. He's out of the lineup because of Blay, and he has to pass the Wolves head on to somebody else, and he gives it to the guy that is in the lineup because of him. I mean, just goes to show you what kind of a team guy, what a kind of a team guy Owen Beck is, right? Here he is saluting the guy that basically took his job, right? In the NHL, and giving him the player of the game in the last game. So just another example of the close-knit group, but also just character of Owen Beck. He's a keeper. I love Owen, and I hope he has a long and prosperous NHL career. All right, well, NFL football starting up here. People, I'm sure, going to go watch some NFL. Thanks for tuning in, and okay, not sure what that's about. Chat BT. All right, boys, go Habs, go Fort George. That sums it up perfectly. I feel the same way. We'll see you 7:30, 7:40, something like that tonight, and we'll do a post game. I'll see if I can get somebody on with me there. Been doing too many solos lately. All right, thanks again, folks, and hope to see you tonight. Bye for now.